On that note, hi everyone. Welcome to more Moms of Real Estate. Today, I am with my amazing friend, co-host, Mama Everything, Melissa Johnson. So it's going to be just us.
It's just us today. We're taking over.
Yeah, we're taking over. And we were just talking about motherhood and how when we hear screaming babies, our boobs hurt, because if you are a mother, have been a mother, have experienced that, your boobs hurt when you hear babies cry. I think it's phantom though, because there's nothing there anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing here. So,
and welcome to more.
And this is what we talk about before we start the show.
We talk about all our bodily aches. So the reason why we're talking about that is because my poor 2-year-old was screaming in the other room. The babysitter's trying to put him, or not put him down, but calm him down. He doesn't want to calm down. He just wants mama. Daddy just walked in the door. So daddy took him. Now all is calm. And now mommy can do the show. So what are we talking about today, Miss Melissa?
Well, I like what we were talking about before this started. I know, right? I'm just like, okay. It has been a morning. Like, I feel like I just hit the ground running and it was just productive, but like,
let's talk about that. Let's bring in Becca right now. What would Becca ask us? How is our day going? Let's do a check-in. How has our week been?
Ooh, you want to go first? Oh, me first? Okay, well, let's see. So far, so good. I did have a little bit of a moment earlier, but I actually, this is again, like we talk about all the time, right? Finding your tribe and your people and stuff. And it was funny. My brother texted me. So it was another woman this time. It was my brother. And we had a really good conversation for about 30 minutes. And he was, he life coached me a little bit, and and I needed it. It's his polite way of just kind of like slap me in the face, like, get it together, woman. What's wrong with you?
The way that siblings can, right?
Yes.
Siblings do that to me too.
Yeah. So that was very much needed, and I think really a good conversation that we needed to have. And I miss him. I haven't seen him like for a while. We live in the same town, but with COVID and everything, his wife is, she's immune compromised. So we haven't been able to see him for a while just because he's wanting to protect her, which I understand. So, but I still miss him. So it was good to talk.
So 1 out of 10?
I would say about like a 7.5 to
7.5.
Yeah. I onboarded a new client yesterday. That was awesome.
And remember, folks, this is a accumulation of the week. So
the whole week.
I would say I'm at a good solid 8. I'm at 8. 8's a strong number, right?
Yeah, that's my favorite number.
It's a great number. Actually, 7's my favorite number because I was born on July 7th. But let's jump 1 over. Let's say it's an 8. It's been Jason was out of town this weekend, or this past weekend into the beginning of this week, which is always awesome, because the only reason why he'll go out of town is for really important stuff that needs to get taken care of on our properties. And he was also looking at areas for us to go and live in Tennessee. So it was exciting because we kind of narrowed it down to some of the towns we're going to look at. But on the other hand, managing the homestead by myself it's always a lot of fun. No, it is fun because my children are fun. I love spending so much time with them, but it's hard not having that extra hand that I've depended on, especially since our children are so young still. And then bedtime's a little bit trickier. And so it's been a solid 8, not only due to that, but also my mood's been kind of down a little bit lately. Mm-hmm. And I need to reach out and see if anybody knows of some good vitamins that I should be taking, because I don't think the vitamins that I am taking are really working that well. So I think I need more vitamins in my life. I'm going to talk to this other woman that I know. We're going to start using some oils. So let's see how I can up-level everything in other ways that I haven't tried yet. because obviously I can like pump myself up, get my energy up whenever I need to.
You're your own hype woman. You're your own hype woman.
Are you drinking grape juice or wine?
I wish.
You're like
It looks like I'm drinking like a drink. It's just Coke.
like a Jack and Coke.
It's a Jack and Coke, you know. I mean, it is noon.
Like it's 5 someplace.
I know. No, it's literally just Coke. I like to drink it in the little glass though, because it stays fizzier and then I don't drink as much. So if I just pour a little bit in a cup with some ice, then I don't feel so bad about drinking soda, which I shouldn't be doing anyway, but whatever.
I'm laughing because I don't know if you want to share with everybody what you were eating when we came on.
Oh, yeah, my lunch. Yeah, so that's what I had for lunch.
The reason why I'm laughing, and for everyone that's on here, we have like quite a bit. I think we have about 30 people watching right now. So thank you everyone for watching. You guys are awesome. We'll get to the healthy part of the show soon. All we talked about is wine, mac and cheese, and Coke.
I know, I feel like I'm dragging the whole thing down with all my like, I don't know, it's a rough week, and like I'm drinking Coke, and I'm eating mac and cheese out of the, and not even
for us to just be like all like cloud 9, happy-go-lucky positivity. Thank you, just because this is the truth. I have multiple cups of coffee around me. I drank 2 cups of coffee today so far. I'm on my 3rd. It's really, really cold.
Ew,
so
I can't do that.
What I love though is that sometimes, and like I said, we'll get to the healthy part in just a sec, but sometimes just nourishing your body, getting food in it, is you just need to do it. And sometimes you just feel like a cup of mac and cheese. Now, what I would suggest is you balance that out by drinking a little bit more water today, not Coke.
I'm not big, yeah.
Exactly. See, I know you drink a ton of water, and you know I drink a ton of water. So with all this coffee, it usually goes through my body really, really quickly. So yeah, health-wise, it's all about balance. And sometimes you want that candy bar, sometimes you want that cookie, sometimes you want that multiple glasses of wine, but it's all about balance, because if you have too much of something, even the good stuff, it can be detrimental. So what we're talking about today is being more to yourself, especially in this day and age of COVID, of homeschooling, of all the things, of the political climate right now. A lot of, especially mothers, are carrying the brunt of the weight, because that's what moms do. We carry things. We've carried children. We've carried inside and outside of our wombs. We carry the problems of the household. Usually, I'm not sorry if I'm making a wide blanket statement, but so much of this is true. You cannot say it's false. We carry these things. So a lot of it, we need to find those ways. And I really want to talk to you about this, Melissa, because I find that you're really good at knowing when you've pushed your limit. And sometimes you just you shut off everything, and you've done this before. You just lie down on a blanket outside for hours, just recomposing yourself. So what are some tips and tricks you can think of for mamas out there and papas who are dealing with all of this and taking the brunt of everything that's coming or everything that's here? And what are some things that they can do to take care of themselves?
Ooh, I love self-care. It's something that I excuse me, my mac and cheese is stuck in my throat. Before we get into the self-care, I feel like I need to preface the mac and cheese thing by, that was not something I wanted to eat. It was just a time crunch. I had 7 minutes to eat. So what could I make and eat in that time frame? And that was all I could think of. So that's right. I feel like I need to justify.
Don't justify.
Pull that aside. Or I could just say like the mac and cheese was self-care, because I do like mac and cheese. I'm not gonna lie. It's really good stuff. But
it's home food. It makes you all warm and happy.
Yeah. I mean, not the 3-minute mac and cheese, obviously, like the fancy, like the Cracker Barrel or something,
lobster.
Yeah. Yum. So yeah, I think with the self-care thing, I think it all starts in just an awareness of yourself, like a self-awareness of when you are hitting that limit. And that's something that I had to learn over time, just, knowing that, okay, my tank is like really low, getting empty. And then I would snap sometimes because I just couldn't, it just builds and it builds on top of itself, and you're never doing anything about it. And you're just kind of squishing it down, squishing it down. And then you have this big like explosion, right? and it could be anything that could, trigger it. And so, I started recognizing that pattern, of squishing it down and then having these meltdown kind of things. Not like a temper tantrum, but just like going to that, just really feeling overwhelmed. And I want to cry, and I just want to sit there, and I want to do nothing. And that's not healthy either. And it's definitely not something I want my kids to see me doing. I want them to know when I don't try to hide my feelings from them, because I think it's important for your kids to know when you are happy, when you're sad, when you're angry, things like that. It's just controlling your reaction to all that stuff is, obviously important. You don't want to go punch a hole in the wall in front of your kids. That might mess them up, but expressing that you're upset is healthy, I think. So yeah. And then once you figure that out, it's just taking, knowing what is good for you. So what are the things that you enjoy doing? Something I started doing, I picked up my art again. I really put that off to the side for a while. And I was just feeling all like, like, what's wrong with me? And then I realized that I wasn't feeding that part of myself, taking care of myself with my creativity, because that's a huge part of who I am. I'm a creative person. I love being creative, and I love making art and just letting my mind wander and do, paint or write or whatever. And so I started taking time to do that stuff again. I also like going outside, like you mentioned. Like, I had a really stressful week last week. It was rough. And one of the days I just said, you know what? I can't do anything else. I'm literally, I have nothing left. I just need to recharge somehow. And it's funny how going outside or being near water is actually very, I don't know, what's the word? Like, it recharges you, kind of. And so, one of my things that I like to do is just, I'll go throw a big picnic blanket outside in the backyard, and I'll just sit in the backyard, and I just sat out there and I painted and, had some conversations. And, I talked to one of my friends. She does intuitive guidance for people and for business and stuff like that. And I started having some ideas. So I talked with some of that, talked through some of that stuff with her. And then I just felt so much better, so
it's moments like that we need, that I think we're not letting ourselves have, especially with like, okay, I have 15 minutes right now. Oh, I'm going to go check Facebook, or I'm going to get online and do something, or I'm going to check my emails. Whereas we should be doing exactly what you did, is kind of just separate yourself and kind of turn everything off, or to really just turn it all off.
Mm-hmm.
And just sit. I mean, it's like, it's kind of like meditation, but it's more,
it's a stillness, right?
It's almost like being bored, like forcing boredom on yourself, forcing yourself to do something that isn't your norm, or that isn't productive.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. And that's the danger, I think, that we fall into, right? Because as entrepreneurs and stuff, and as moms and busy people, I think we feel guilty whenever we're not doing something. If I'm sitting there and it's like, oh, I have 30 minutes or I have an hour, and if I'm not being productive, sometimes I feel bad. Like, okay, I know where I'm at in life right now, and I know I do not need to be sitting on my ass, like not doing anything. I feel bad. It's like, I need to be hustling right now. But then I think, Blech.
No, say it.
Well, then I just think, you know what? Like that, those things are still going to be there. They're always going to be there. And so, but having that time for yourself, you may not always get that. It may be a stolen hour, out of the whole week that you get.
Exactly. Well, this is what we're talking about right now, is stealing that time back for yourself. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. You have like this half an hour just where it's like, okay, what can I clean? What emails can I go through? How can I further my business more using this half hour? How can I take that half hour and put it into 5-minute increments so I can time block the hell out of it? Because I'm going to do that. Or I can take that half hour and go through my kids' art projects and look at their stuff, like really like dive deep. Or take their paint down and start painting something. I haven't painted something in ages. Or just taking a moment just to like sit outside and look at the clouds and not think. Like, when is the last time? And I'm asking all the lady entrepreneurs, because I know you're all watching right now. When was the last time you did that? I mean, really did that, really turned it off. I mean, Melissa knows when the last time was. And I have to preface this. I know the story behind that. And this is last week when you guys didn't see Melissa. It was because it was that detrimental to her health. And I know she loves being here with us, that she was just like, ladies, I just can't. And we're just like, cool, you go do you. And sometimes you just need to do that, like turn it off so much so that you're saying no to things that you actually love doing. But sometimes those things that you love doing isn't what you need in the moment. I think I'm going to go sit outside and look at the clouds right now.
And there's also the thing too, she's gone to look at the clouds. I think there's a thing too of like, just, we want to show up as our best selves. Yeah. And if it's something we love, like for me, with the podcast last week, like I love doing this, but I knew that I would not be my best self, being here. And it was just like, I did just need to kind of recharge the battery a little bit and just take myself away from everybody, not that I don't love the people in my life, but it's like, I need a break. And that's actually what my brother was talking about today. He goes, you need a break. He said, not like a break in business, which was where my head was. He goes, you need an actual break, like just to not do anything, to go away for a little bit and just not do anything. And I said, I don't remember the last time I took a break like that. I think it's been a year, because I went to Scotland it was November of last year. And that was the last escape that I had. A year is a long time to wait for a break. So ladies, don't wait a whole year to take a break.
See, my breaks usually happen every time we go to Hawaii. So you all know that I haven't been to Hawaii for a while because of COVID. Last time I was there was actually in February, and that was for my grandfather's. He had a stroke, and he was in the hospital, and we actually moved him to hospice while I was still there. And I got to be surrounded by family. This is not, yes, my grandfather died. That's very sad. And I miss him so very much. But the thing is, it's a happy story in the fact that I actually got to see so much family, because I basically just stayed in the hospice room the entire week that I was there. I got to see so much family that I hadn't seen in probably years, that it was like a blessing in disguise. So when I usually go to Hawaii, just being reconnected with family and being reconnected with my mom, and being reconnected with my dad, and being reconnected with my brother and sister, and knowing that I can just basically take all my kids and be like, here, and Jason and I just leave. I know we can do that without me having to call, without me having to check in, because it's just like they're set up, and they don't see the kids often enough that it's like all their attention is just like there on the kids the entire time. So that's when I usually take my break. So I was actually just talking to my mom about that last night, and or kind of every time we talk now, it's getting progressively like, oh my goodness, my mom hasn't seen her grandchildren in so long. Thank goodness for FaceTime. and just the way we can connect this way. Because without that, I think we would all be going crazy right now.
Yeah.
But I can feel like something inside me just kind of like slowly going like, oh, what's wrong? What's happening? Oh yeah, I haven't been to Hawaii since last February. And I usually go like once or twice a week, or once or twice a year. And yeah, I know a lot of people who are listening right now, you're like, oh my goodness, Peely, you're so spoiled. You get to go to Hawaii, how much? You guys got to remember that that's my home. That's where I'm from. It's like going back to, I don't know, the motherland, or to like home, like that place in your mind that you know as home. Whether it is like your house, whether it is, well, and truth be told, like Jason is always my home. Like he and I, like as a unit, I don't want to say we complete each other, but it's sort of that. Each other in our separate bodies. We do not like, whatever. I'm rambling. Anyway, back to Hawaii. Hawaii is just, it's my cultural birthplace. It's like I touch the ground, and this is just at the airport. I touch the ground and I feel like rejuvenated. Like there's something about the land and the people and the ocean and the air, even at the airport where you think it'd be super stinky. It's just different. And I need it. So I'm trying to like find ways to recreate that. And I think like just simply going outside and laying down on a picnic blanket, that might be one step into the right direction.
Well, it's like a connection with home. And if you do it with your kids too, I've done it with my kids. Like we'll go out and have a picnic and stuff in the backyard. They love that stuff, and those are the things that they remember as home for them, and that's kind of going off on a tangent, but your home place is your comfort place too. So even if maybe your break is just being in your home, being in your backyard, in a place that makes you happy. You don't even have to be painting or creating or doing anything. You're just in that place that makes you happy, and you feel cared for and loved. And because when you were saying that about going home to Hawaii, I think about when I go home to my parents' house. Like, I mean, it's south side of Houston, so it's not like a great like Hawaii or anything, but
that's Hawaii to you. So for me, Hawaii is like, it's not like the touristy version. It's like,
yeah,
it's like going to my parents' house.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And that's the thing. Like my parents still live in the house where I pretty much grew up. They built that house. I think I was 8 when we moved in there, and they've lived there ever since. And, that's where all my memories are. And I know that that's a place I can go and be loved and be taken care of. And, my mom is just so like, what can I do for you? Let me cook you something. Here's a glass of wine, my dad would be like, and
what can I cook for you? Here's a glass of tequila or whiskey. I'm just like,
yes. And I'm like, yes, give me all these things. I need this, and it's just like the house itself, like it just, hugs you, and that's for me, my home. And I want my kids to feel that too, here in our house. And I think that they do. I think if we ever had to move, they'd be really sad, but your home is where you make it. It's the people that are there. It's not like the house itself. It's just all the people and the memories and all the great things and the love that you have there. And that's what makes it special, right?
Yes. I love this kind of home tangent that we've taken.
I know, that totally went.
It kind of follows the same thought process though, because we're talking about how we can be more to ourselves. And it sounds like for me and you, it's really making that connection with home, with what is home base for you, what is your center, what is your equilibrium. I know things are changing, our bodies are always in flux, the world is always in flux. The one common thing we all have is that everything is always changing. We're always taking a step forward or steps back, but we're always moving. And how can we all take that time for ourselves to check in, to make sure mamas and papas, you're going to those doctor's appointments to check on your health, that you are taking those vitamins to make sure your life is, or your body is acting the way it should be, taking the time to exercise and drink water and do all these things, even with everything that's going on, you need to take this time for yourself. So Melissa, how do you think would be the best way for people to like really like make the time, especially if they're homeschooling, they're working, maybe they've lost their job, maybe they're starting a new job, maybe whatever, maybe they're losing their home, wherever they are in life. How can they make this? You and I both know, Melissa. We're not really good. We're not always the best practitioners on this, but you and I both know that we got to take care of ourselves first, no matter where we're at in our lives. So how can people do that across the board?
I think it's just setting that intention to do that. And then just, if you're going to say yes to taking time for yourself, you're going to have to say no to something else. Yeah. So what are you doing that you can say no to? Is it that time you're goofing around on Facebook? Yeah, we're all guilty. I do it too. That's a, great time to take time for yourself instead of just, fiddle farting around on that, it's funny for me, like it's my shower time. That's usually like the only time I ever get to myself a lot of times. And so like, I'll just, I take my time in the shower in the morning, and that way I think about stuff, and it's just me time, quiet time. I'm not being interrupted or disturbed, so even just something small like that, where you're just taking time in your morning routine, maybe just to have some time for yourself, 5-10 minutes to meditate or to think about doing something creative. Sometimes when I can't actually do something creative, I'll look at things that inspire me for later to be creative. So even if you don't have a whole lot of time, if you are, if you like to write or to paint or to make art or do anything like that, or fitness, whatever it is that's your kind of your outlets, your you time, the things that you want to do for yourself. If you can't do that activity, do something that will spark something for you to do it later, that will inspire you for later.
I love that.
Yeah, but you will, like I said, I think the most important thing is just knowing that what you're saying yes and what you're saying no to, and that you can say no to some of these other things to make the time for yourself, to say, yes, I'm taking this time for me, and I'm not going to do this other thing, because you can't do both. You can't do all of it.
And that's, I know I'm going to bring this up again, 75 hard. That's why so many people have a hard time with that, I guess, health plan, fitness plan, whatever you want to call it, is because you have to make all this time for it, but it allows you to cut out the BS. So 75 hard aside, what can you do? What kind of rules can you instill in your life? Because I need rules. I don't know if you guys need rules, but I need rules. What kind of rules can you instill in your life to make you cut out all that BS? Because maybe it's that BS that's keeping you from reaching that goal, seeing that opportunity, taking some time for yourself, for your health, for your wellness, for your mindset. Because I know and we've had this discussion before, Melissa, if I don't wake up early, none of that happens. Mm-hmm. And it's not shot, because I'll find moments to like recenter, but I definitely can see the difference between the days that I wake up between 4:30 and 5 and the days that I roll out of bed with the kids at 6:30. Like just that hour and a half difference makes all the difference in the world. And those days that I roll out of bed at 6:30 with the kids, it's usually the nights that I can't sleep and I'm just like on my phone doing this until God knows when, because I just can't sleep. Whereas I should put this down, take that time, breathe, and go to sleep as early as possible.
Or you can meditate during that time, or journal, or whatever. Like, something that that I had done for a while that was helpful for me, that I'll share because it might be helpful for other people. But tracking your whole day, your time of your day. And it sounds very tedious, but there's actually software that does it. I have to think of the software that I was using. Toggl, Toggl. So you can it's free. and you can set up a toggle account. And then what I was doing was I spent like 2 weeks tracking my time, what I was doing every day. And so, and it's cool because it has a little, what do you call it? Like the thing that goes at the top of your screen, like not a bookmark, but like an extension thing. So you don't have to go into toggle every time. You can literally just install that little button and just click it and then put whatever you're doing, and then it'll start a timer. And then when you're done, then you go to the next activity, whatever that is. But you'll see if you track it for like a week or two, you'll see where you're and be honest with yourself too when you're doing this. Like, don't cheat. Don't say, well, that looks really bad. If it's bad, it's too bad. That's what you did. Just leave it there. But you'll see. So 2 things will happen. One is you'll see where you're spending a bunch of your time. The second interesting thing that I noticed that happened was when I was having to track my time, I became very conscious of how I was spending my time because I didn't want to look back at that 2-week report and say, geez, Louise, I spent how much time on social media, or I spent how much time like doing whatever that wasn't very important. It makes you really conscious of how you're actually wasting your time when you have to go in there and document it. So
maybe one of these weeks we should all document like our week for 2 weeks and see what happens. Another thing that you can do, and it's for all you that have iPhones, the iPhone actually tracks what you open on your iPhone. And right now I've done a shite ton of social networking.
Why don't we share?
Yeah. What was that?
Why don't we share?
It's mine.
What does yours look like?
It's most used. Most used is Instagram today, then emails, then Facebook, then what's this? Here, yeah, Instagram, mail, Facebook, Messenger, messages, and YouTube Kids. Because
how much time?
I have on Instagram an hour, mail about 40 minutes, Facebook half an hour, Messenger 18 minutes, messages 16 minutes, YouTube Kids 12 minutes, because my kids get my phone for a little bit just before they take a nap, and then TikTok for 10 minutes.
So what's the total for today?
So right now, social networking is 2 hours and 5 minutes. Entertainment is 16 minutes. That would be YouTube, and which is sort of productivity too, because I have to go onto YouTube to check my YouTube channel. And then productivity is 38 minutes.
We're close. So my total time for today so far already is 1 hour and 44 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So 32 minutes on Facebook, 31 minutes in reminders because I was at the grocery store, and that's how we keep the grocery list. 8 minutes on Instagram, 5 minutes on Facebook Messenger, 4 minutes in my email, 3 minutes with text messages. So I had 50 minutes of social time, 39 minutes of productivity, and 3 minutes of shopping.
So there you go, folks. You can actually go on your phone and see where you can source a lot of your time from. So did I need to spend 2 hours of my day already? And it's only 1:30 here in New Jersey. I've already spent 2 hours on social. So I can probably knock that down by 1 hour and use it. And by the way, I did go exercise. I had my morning, woke up really early. But what else can I do with those 2 hours? Obviously, there's a lot of my business that happens on social, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that was all business, because it wasn't. A lot of it was like, ooh, what's everyone else doing? And then you stop, you're like, oh no, I don't want to read that. Keep on. So how can you take that time? And all of you that have iPhones, don't tell me that you don't. Look at how you're spending your time on your phone and see if you can source some of that time and take it back for yourself. Because we have all the time we need to do the things that we want. We are limitless. And this is a mindset that you need to have. We are limitless. You are limitless. If you limit yourself, then that's just you making the choice to limit yourself.
Very true. All a choice.
Yes. Think limitless thoughts. So I think we can sort of end on that, unless you have anything else you want to tell anybody about, sort of like this new podcast that you just came out with.
Yeah, I did launch my new podcast, and you were on it. That episode's not out yet, but yeah. It's good so far. It's the E3 podcast with Melissa Johnson, me.
Yeah.
And it's been fun interviewing. I got to talk to so many cool women just doing amazing things and doing a lot of different things too. And what's been really fun is just like it starts out, it's business related, but it's also a lot of personal stuff too. And some of the conversations have actually gone completely personal, which is fun, when that happens, because I'm just sort of letting it, like, whatever happens, happens. But the premise is to, bring women on that are female entrepreneurs, own a business, not necessarily just real estate. It could be anything. And working through a specific problem or a block that they're having in their business where they're just kind of stuck, and they need some ideas, some fresh perspective, whatever. So talking through those things. So my hope is that other people that are listening will relate to some of these problems that these women are having, and, maybe take some of the advice and solutions too that we talk through. And then also bringing in people that are very high level, that are just sharing their experience overall of being a woman entrepreneur and some of the challenges that they faced and lessons they've learned and expertise, that they have. So it's been I think it's a really well-rounded sort of podcast, and it's very free flowing and conversational, and had good feedback so far. So
awesome. And what do the 3 E stand for?
It is to encourage, to educate, and to empower, because those are my 3 pillars of what I'm doing for coaching for women.
Fantastic. Also, because Becca would love it if I did this. So check it out. Flip Hacking Live is happening right now. This is where Melissa, Stephanie, and Becca and I all met. We met at Flip Hacking Live. We became amazing friends. And even through going our separate ways, we managed to come back and create more. And now going from this is 2016 to 2017 and where we are now, totally different places, but the friendship and the strength of our friendship has superseded all that we've all done. So if you want to find those connections, those people, this is a place you should go and check out. So again, it's www.fliphackinglive.com. And if you type in JP, I will actually pay the owner, Bill Allen, $100 to send you or to have you come. Even though it's already started, I will pay $100 still if you want to go and join them. It's an amazing conference. I know Nina Ferraro, that's been on the show. She's speaking. Becca Shea is speaking, who is a mom here at Moore. Stephanie's speaking. Stephanie Betters is speaking. And it's so chock full of so much goodness. You can't not go. Anywho, that's my spiel for the day. I'm going to keep it over there. So, you want to take us out since I brought us in?
Oh, I'm so bad with the outro.
You got to practice. Practice makes perfect.
You have to do this for my podcast because I have a pre-recorded thing, so I don't have to say it every single time. But thank you, everybody, for joining us for more this week. Even though it was just the 2 of us, it was still awesome. I still hope that everybody got a lot out of that. And see you next week when we're all 4 back, right?
Yes, we'll all 4 be back. I'm sure Becca and Stephanie will be telling all about what happened in Flip Hacking Live, and it's going to be a great conversation. So I will see you guys there or here Thursday at 1.
Yes.
Aloha.